Hey, Disney cruisers, and welcome back to the DCL community where we are here to help you plan, prepare for, and get excited for your Disney cruise. You guys know me. I'm Rebecca, your host and admin of the DCL community. And today we are so excited to be talking about, of course, our favorite topic, Disney Cruise Line, but specifically about the best time to go on a Disney cruise. We get this question all the time. So I'm so excited to be joined by Hunter and use her experience and her expertise to help us decide what the best time is to go on a Disney cruise. So, Hunter, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself as people are coming in?
Yeah, hi guys. My name is Hunter. I am a travel agent. I've been a travel agent for 9 years with Jayco Travel. I specialize in Disney Cruise Line, family travel, romance travel, not just Disney, but that's what we're talking about tonight. So, tonight our agenda is for when is the best time to cruise. So, we're going to go over that based on your family schedules, crowds, costs, weather, cruises by the season, and specialty ports, themed sailings, and your children's ages.
Yes, I was going to say there's so many factors to take into consideration here. So, we're going to be breaking down all of them. But if you have any questions, make sure to put those in the comments and we'll do our best to get to them as we're going through. But let's talk a little bit about who you are, Hunter.
Yeah, so a little further introduction. Again, my name is Hunter. I have been on 26 Disney cruises across all of Disney Cruise Line's fleet. So that's super exciting. I have two little ones, one not so little anymore. He's a tween, but so I have experience from littles to teens and tweens on Disney Cruise Line, as well as multi-generational families and all of those things. So Disney Cruise Line is our favorite vacation to take. I just love everything from the Disney magic to like the beach and relaxation. You can't go wrong with the unlimited ice cream, the Broadway caliber shows, the, the port excursions, like all of it combined together just creates like this perfect harmony for our vacation.
Took the words right out of my mouth. Could not agree with you more.
So here's just a few ways to contact me. This presentation will be in the comments when we finish, and the links will be clickable. So you can do that after the presentation, but the easiest way just would be to email me at hunter@jcotravel.com.
Love it. Yes. And your planning services are totally free. But in addition to Disney cruises, you also have these specialties.
Yeah, so our services are complimentary. When you book a cruise with Disney Cruise Line directly, their packages always include the commission to work with a travel agent. So if you're not working with a travel agent, you're leaving that value on the table. And nobody likes to give money away, right? So do yourself a favor and work with an advisor who specializes in the type of vacation that you want to go on and the type of vacation that matches your family's needs so that you can have somebody there to work with you one on one and give you this personalized vacation experience. Because let's be honest, when you call into the 800 number for Disney Cruise Line, nothing about that is personalized, right? They don't know you, they don't know your family. So that's one of the best things about working with a travel agent. So I have experience with family travel, obviously with my kids, accessible travel because my husband's an amputee, allergy travel because we have celiac disease and a nut allergy in our family, concierge staterooms because we have sailed concierge on all 5 ships, and then also Disney Cruise Line weddings. I work with a lot of Disney Cruise Line brides, and I am a Disney Cruise Line bride myself. So lots of experience there as well.
Yeah, and something that I think is so important, and Hunter's mentioned it, she sailed across all the ships. It always makes me kind of scream a little bit on the inside when somebody says they're working with a travel agent who's never done anything related to Disney Cruise Line or cruising before, because it's such a specific product and there's so many things to take into consideration. So having somebody who's actually sailed on board these ships is going to make such a difference to you having the best experience on board. Makes such a difference.
It really does. So it's pretty easy to work with me or another travel advisor. So step one is you need to take some time with your family or your friend, whoever you're traveling with, and brainstorm the trip you want to take. From the like maybe the time of year you want to go, to just figuring out if you want to cruise or a land vacation, etc. Step two would be to contact me, and step three would be to collaborate with me. We will really narrow down on the logistics and take you from like a broad idea down to something that's really perfect for your family through a phone call. And that just allows me to ask the right questions and make sure we're matching you to the right trip without having to go back and forth and email a ton, because that can get a little bit frustrating for everybody involved. Step four, I send you the perfect proposal for your family that lays out everything about your trip, so you can have it right in front of you and kind of get a flow of what your vacation is going to look like. And then step five, if needed, we'll tweak and revise that proposal. And then step six, we book and start the best part, the planning process.
I was going to say, once you get that confirmation, that bippity boppity booked email, oh, it's the best, the best, the best.
It really is. So diving into when is the best time to cruise, some of the questions I want you to ask yourself are, can I or am I willing to take my children out of school? Or is there a time of work that I can't or shouldn't take off work, like accountants, tax season? They are not taking off work right now, probably. So those are some kind of things that start thinking about, just kind of narrowing down the season you want to travel in. If you can at least give me like spring, summer, winter, fall, that is so helpful. And then another question would be, do you have any personal or family commitments that might affect your ability to travel during certain times, like weddings, graduations, and other events, first communions? So that would be something to take into consideration if there's anything you don't want to miss. Maybe it's a concert, maybe it's the Eras Tour, who knows?
Yeah.
And finally, how much are you willing to spend to get the vacation you want? So it's no secret that vacation prices are dynamic. So that means they go based off supply and demand. So the supply is there, but with the demand, it decreases. Like in the summertime, when families are wanting to travel while their kids are out on break, that demand goes up. Same with pretty much anytime the kids are going to be out of school. So winter break, spring break, Easter, Thanksgiving, even some like President's Day weekend. People would not believe how expensive President's Day weekend is to travel. Even just a 4-day trip, Thursday to Monday or whatever, it can get pretty pricey. So those are just some things to keep in mind. Like if you're willing to spend to get the vacation you want over the time you want, no problem. If you're not, I need your dates to be flexible, because we can try to make it work. You just may need to look at a time when you're going to have to take your kids out of school, or, to make it work.
I was going to say, it's such a matter of prioritizing, right? What's most important to you and your family. If you can maybe take a day or two, or take your kids out of school for a day or two, you might be able to have those perfect dates that you want, that perfect itinerary that you want. But if that's not an option, then are you willing to budge on budget? There's different levers that Hunter can pull so that this is customized to get you exactly what you want, and checking off as many boxes as you can. Family schedules. Yes, this is an important one, especially as a mom yourself. You know this all too well.
Yeah, so family schedules. Just kind of like what we were talking about, your availability is probably one of the biggest dictators on when you're going to travel, whether that's the school schedule or your PTO. So you really have to look at the big picture of, when is it best for your family to travel, or when does your family want to travel? For me, anytime in the winter when it's snowing and freezing here in northern Indiana, I would like to travel. Like I would like to be gone. But a lot of times that means taking my kids out of school to travel in January and February, because our spring break isn't until the end of March. And that's something I'm willing to do, but not everybody is, and that's okay. So that's where we just have to really have a good grasp on our own schedule, and that really helps narrow down the dates.
Absolutely. And question for you, because I know One of the questions, and I already see it coming through on Instagram, but like, when is the best time to book? And I feel like we're probably going to be talking about that. But I guess strategy wise, at the start of the school year, are you looking at your kids' calendars along with your travel schedule and you're just trying to match up and kind of put the puzzle pieces together?
Yeah, so our school calendar is already out for 2024 into 2025, so like the next school year.
Wow.
So I'm always looking way far ahead. Um, when especially when considering Disney Cruise Line, it is the best to book as soon as possible to get the best rates as possible. So as soon as you know you want to travel, like don't wait. If you can make that 20% deposit, book the trip because the prices are going to go up as we get closer to the trip. Just like that supply and demand, like we were talking about earlier, that's the same for pricing. Um, as the cruise ships fill up, the price goes up. Just like when more people are traveling, like in the summer, the price goes up. So it's the same concept. So I would definitely recommend booking as soon as you know when you want to go.
So true. I've seen more and more people asking, like, do Disney cruises do last minute sales, any last minute deals? And I'm like, sorry, not really. Disney and discount don't necessarily go hand in hand, but if you're looking for the best pricing, we've got some deals for you looking way out in advance. But yeah,
Yeah.
so it's so true. And I see so many great questions coming in. We're going to do our best to get to all of them as we're going through these, guys. So keep sending the questions on over. Oh, crowds. This is one of the questions that came over. When is it least crowded?
So crowds are going to go on the same kind of, concept of when the kids are in school versus when the kids are not in school, right? So you're going to see more crowds around Christmas break, spring break, and summer break. That just kind of is how the cookie crumbles. Um, some of the best and least crowded times to travel are end of January, early February, avoiding President's Day, in September. Once the kids have gone back to school and people's summer vacations are winding down, I find that a lot of adult only cruisers, like maybe retired couples or couples that don't have children, they're cruising in those months.
And if I have a schedule where maybe I'm homeschooling my kids and, we can go in the middle of January, are there just going to be no kids on board for my kids to play with in the kids club, or are there always going to be kids on board?
There's pretty much always kids on board, but when I'm saying like less, think maybe 500 kids versus 1,200 kids, or
I was
200
going to
kids versus 700 kids, kind of something like that. So it can really double during those ho peak seasons when kids are off. I just think that there's fewer kids and more adults, to the ratio during those off-season months, and every time I'm on board, that's a question I always ask, like, the first day, "How many kids are on board, and what's capacity?" Or, like, "What are we at compared to capacity?" Just to kinda give myself an idea for clients' research and kind of validate exactly what we're talking about right now.
and I was going to say Disney cruises don't tend to run unsold. They're usually on the higher sellout, higher capacity, right?
Yeah, so a lot of times we're seeing these ships at 100%, but in the slower times, they're still going to be upwards of like 70%, 70% of the capacity.
Awesome. Yeah. So again, good to book as far out as possible because those last minute deals, if Disney's selling these cruises at 70%, does it really make sense for them to discount it? Not necessarily. Oh, speaking of
Right.
costs, this is a great segue.
Yeah, so you're going to see a trend here. The costs really vary. And again, they're going to be higher in summer, spring, spring break, fall break, winter break kind of thing. Again, President's Day, like those longer weekends, like President's Day, Easter, Memorial Day, Labor Day, um, Thanksgiving. I would say the lowest holiday would be Labor Day.
There you go.
So if you're
Uh,
looking to maybe maximize some PTO or maybe your kids don't go back to school until after Labor Day, that's a great time of year. That's on the lower end to travel, but still doesn't make you take as much PTO or take your kids out of school if they start after Labor Day.
Yeah, and another question for you, sometimes people have limited, most of us have limited time off, so they can maybe only do a 3-day cruise. Is that worth it to just do a 3-day vacation? What do you think?
I think that's really hard to judge, right? Some people aren't comfortable leaving their home for more than 3 or 4 days. So for them, absolutely. It also depends on how far you're traveling from, right? So I am in northern Indiana, so it's 2 hours to the airport for me, and then a 2.5 hour flight. So for me, I don't love 3 night cruises. But for somebody that's maybe in close to Florida, or they're in Texas and they're going to sail to Galveston, or they're close to San Diego and it's more like a weekend trip like my family would take to Chicago or Wisconsin, yeah, for sure it's worth it.
I was going to say that's definitely something to talk through with Hunter when you're looking at planning these cruises, because what's worth it for your family could definitely vary, especially depending on these costs.
Yeah, and I always say, Rebecca's heard me say it a million times. If you've watched my videos, you've heard me say it. There is no one size fits all vacation. There's so many different variables that make the cruise or the itinerary or the ship or any of the above things that we can modify different based on your needs and preferences from maybe mine or Rebecca's needs and preferences. So there's just so many variables. When somebody emails me and can you give me an average cost of a Disney cruise? No, not really, because there's so many pieces that go into the puzzle.
Yes, it's so true.
So let's look at kind of maybe when is the best time to book that is not holiday and would be more budget conscious. Okay. So maybe the second to last week of January, minus like some New Year's week, like that whole first week is out, right? Because that's going to be the sailings that are sailing over New Year's, or even like the second to the sixth sailings that are 4 nights, they can be up there in price too. So usually about after the sixth or seventh, they start to go down until President's Day. And then President's Day, weekend sailings are always higher. And then the first week of March typically isn't bad. So that's a good time also, even though it's not listed on here. May before Memorial Day, also good. And the last week of April is also not bad. September, October, November before Thanksgiving, and the first and second week of December. Those are all times where, if school break, like, midsummer or over winter break is out of reach for you, let's look at these time frames.
Love that. There's definitely options across the year and something that can fit just about anybody's schedule. So it's just about, like you were saying, putting the pieces of the puzzle together.
Yeah, and we always get asked about weather, right? So when we're talking about the Bahamas and the Caribbean cruises, January and February are going to have cooler water temps. But being from the north, it doesn't bother me. Like, you'll still find my kids in the water. The Bahamas cruises, let's say on the Wish, definitely gonna be cooler. Think like Florida. Bahamas are not that much further south than Florida. They just are not. Now, if you're going on the Eastern Caribbean cruises, which go much further south, it's gonna be warmer. But your day at Castaway may have cooler water temps, maybe, you know, low to mid 70s. So if that's perfect for you, definitely January and February, even December too. July, August, and September, man, are they hot and humid. But me, I love it. I love, love, love it. And then you also have to
Great.
think about hurricane season. So hurricane season is technically June 1st to November 30th. This always catches people by surprise because they always think of peak hurricane season being August and September, and they're not wrong. That is when we normally see our biggest tropical storms or hurricanes. However, it is by the National Weather Service considered June to November. So that's just something that you need to make sure to have travel protection to protect your investment if you wanted to cancel, or if Disney needs to cancel you because of safety reasons, and or be understanding that Disney may alter your itinerary to make sure that you can still sail but be safe while doing it.
Yeah, I was
I
gonna
personally
say that's
sailed in
something that
August and September. Go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say that's something that I feel like people they definitely don't realize how far hurricane season can happen, but Disney will reroute you. Their goal is to keep everybody safe. But I mean, we had that huge storm this past December that had a whole bunch of cruise ships that had to change what they were doing. So you can't predict Mother Nature. There's no sense in stressing about it, if you ask me. But
Right.
what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say that I've sailed in those months and absolutely loved it, like, had a great time. Um, it's just always something that could happen, but you have to think that so many cruise ships go in and out of ports per day, and very few cruises are actually canceled. The cruise lines all do a great job of tracking the weather and taking a different route. Um, Even if it's a small thunderstorm out in the middle of the ocean, they try to go around it because they want you to have the best experience. So you're having fun on the cruise and you'll come back. So they're going to do whatever it takes to find good weather, if at all possible.
Something I love that Disney does, even though they have zero control over the weather, is they still ask in the comment card at the end of the cruise, how was the weather, the sailing, as if they have some say in it. And, I think people forget that it can just rain on vacation, no matter where you are around the world. So it's important to pack and be prepared. But I mean, Disney does a pretty good job of getting you the best weather that they possibly can, whether it's January, June, or December. Oh, I love it.
They really do. So there are some specific US ports that sail year round, and then there are some that are seasonal. So, and this is also for the other cruise ports around the world that Disney visits, but we see a lot of, a majority of our cruisers going out of US based ports. So, Port Canaveral and now Fort Lauderdale are both permanent ports. You're going to see ships out of there year round. Port Canaveral is going to have 3 ships, sailing in and out of that port very soon. And then Galveston is November to March. And again, these are based off 2024 and 2025 sailings, so it could change. But we do typically see one ship move to Galveston in the fall, winter, spring when the one ship comes back from Europe. Again, pretty much the same for San Diego. When one of the ships is not in Alaska or the South Pacific, you're going to find one in San Diego doing the Mexican Riviera itineraries. And then we typically see 1 to 2 Hawaii cruises per year also.
Yes, and I was gonna say, if you guys are thinking about Hawaii, it blew my mind how much Hunter knows about, I'm gonna say it wrong. Is it Alani, right?
Alani.
Is the Hawaiian resort in Hawaii? Did I
Yeah.
say it right? God bless you. Thank you. So if you guys are wanting to know to compare Alani versus Disney cruises, or maybe putting them together, we have that video on the DCL community YouTube page. And there's so much to do on both the ship and at the resort. It'll blow your mind. It's on my bucket list now, so I have to go. But oh, it's so great. Oh, and speaking of my bucket list, Alaska.
Yes. So Alaska cruises are seasonal, May to September. And people say, when's the best time to go? Well, the only time you can go on Disney Cruise Line is May to September. Um, you're going to see people saying all of the months. And there's different things that each month really brings. So September is pretty much the only chance you're going to get on Disney to see the Northern Lights, but even then it's rare because they don't go really too far north. And then in the summer, like July and August, they say is better for wildlife. So it just a lot goes into it with picking your Alaskan itinerary from there's a couple different port variations and again, when you can go, when is the most affordable. So that's just something that you have to navigate with me, and we, hone in on those details and pick the right one for you.
Yeah, I was gonna say, when you say like Disney Alaska cruises, there's still ways that you can customize that. So, and Hunter's actually going on an Alaskan cruise. So, if you guys are thinking about it for this summer, there's still itineraries that are open. So, if you haven't booked a vacation for your family or for you this summer, reach out to Hunter because Alaska, I know Alaska's at the top of my bucket list. I'm It just looks amazing. So I cannot wait to see all of your pictures and videos when you get back. It's going to be amazing. Oh,
Yeah, and if you were looking at Alaska or Europe for 2025, those itineraries dropped last month. So now is the time to book them if you have not. So if you are looking at a Disney cruise for 2025, we're booking all the way through September 2025, and you need to jump on it like ASAP. Like email me tonight.
yes.
Um, so Disney does sail to Europe. You're going to find those sailings again May through September. It's a seasonal um, port, and they do go in and out of a couple different ports, Barcelona, Denmark, and a lot of European travel is in the summer. I personally think one of the better times, I would, for my own family, I would choose May or September to cruise out of Europe just because of the temperatures. I am just not a I think Europe is a very, you're doing a lot of walking, you're doing a lot of touring, not necessarily hanging out at the beach. And I am not a hot weather person unless I am near water, like at the beach. So if I'm going to be walking around Europe, I want it to be as mild as possible. But again,
Mhm.
that's all dependent on you, your family's schedule, your budget, things like that. And again, something that we can narrow down with you. And also, the European itineraries are very different, whereas they're not the same every week. Lots of changes in them. So we have to look at really what ports you want to see also.
That. And I know we got the question about, can you, as my travel agent, help with things like what excursions I should be booking, with airfare, with travel insurance, with getting from the airport to the cruise ship terminal? Like, can you help with all of those things that go into the cruise? Because it's not just a cruise.
Yeah, we absolutely do help with all of that. All the factors, all the variables that you're going to have to take into consideration for your vacation, we can help you with. From private excursions to excursions with Disney Cruise Line, um, your transportation, travel protection, all of the things Rebecca just listed. We do help either book that, or if you would like to book it separately, guide you to choosing the right options. A lot of people want to book their airfare with points. So we just say, hey, these are the ones I would do, book.
Love that. Yeah, points are great, but knowing how to use points is a whole other ball game. Oh my gosh, I love y'all's costumes in this picture. So good.
So themed sailings. Disney Cruise Line does have some themed sailings. As of right now for 2025, we have only Marvel Day at Sea, and that's going to be January through March on the Dream from Fort Lauderdale. In the second week of September through Halloween, we have the Halloween on the High Sea sailings. And normally the second week of November through whatever sailing has Christmas on it, we have the Very Merry Time sailings. So if you are interested in a holiday themed sailing or are a big Avengers and Marvel fan, Disney Cruise Line does have those themed options for you as well. They're just limited to certain months.
Yes, I was going to say those theme sailings are such a blast, and there's so much additional magic that they add in. And there are some of those in between times that Hunter was talking about earlier that are on here. So definitely some good chances to get on board at some maybe not so peak times.
All right, your ages of children. So you can cruise on Disney Cruise Line starting at 6 months old. So just because, maybe your kid isn't a preschooler or, a school age children doesn't mean that they can't go, and you get to have those memories of their special moments. That's one of the things I loved about traveling with small children as a mom was I will forever remember my daughter like grabbing Minnie Mouse by the cheek and like kissing her. Like so those, while they may not remember, you will remember. But I think to be completely transparent, a prime age would be older than 3 years old. They can enjoy the kids club to 7 years old.
And let me, sorry, did I lose? Oh, no, there you are. Sorry, my internet freaked out for a second. Um, what about like high schoolers and I guess kids older than high school? Would you still think that a Disney cruise is a good option for them?
Yeah, so I have a 12-year-old boy, and he absolutely loves Disney cruises. We did a tweens and teens video with him with Rebecca a couple months back that's here on YouTube. And he just really sold everybody on sailing as a tween. They definitely still have fun. There's special clubs and activities, um, directed just at those ages. The tween club is 11 or now 10 to 14, and Vibe is the teen club is 14 to 17. So you definitely have those areas where they can retreat and hang out with people of the like age and really have their own unique experience. So I think it depends on your child, and that's something we can talk about. But if Disney Cruise Line isn't the best for your teens, there we have other options.
I was gonna say, knowing how to navigate some of the other cruise lines, because I know Royal's got these massive ships now, but also some of the all-inclusives that you've been to, they have so many they have like family sides of the resort versus the adult only sides of the resort. So if you want to go on vacation, know that you can talk to Hunter about not just Disney cruises, but about any vacation that your family might want to take.
All right, so we've come to the end, and as you can see, there's not really a simple answer to when is the best time to take a Disney cruise. And I know some people are probably looking for a straight answer. Like, there's just so much that goes into it, that I need to know to make sure that the vacation is what you want. And we always strive for, matching you with the perfect vacation and nothing less. Um, so it's just accumulation of multiple factors that we need to take into consideration to figure out when's the best for you. I will tell you that my favorite times are May and November.
Yes, I was gonna say there's definitely I feel like everybody has their favorites. I'm just trying to get to back to that last one.
Oh, you're
Everybody
fine.
has their favorites, but there's really no bad time to sail. And question for you, what if I can't plan far in advance, right? Like, what if my family, I'm a first responder and I don't get my schedule until like a month out, maybe, and I can't plan a year, 2 years before. Can I still work with you? Is it as a Disney cruise even something that's within reach if I do have to book last minute?
Yeah, you can absolutely book last minute. I think there's just a couple things to like prepare yourself. Limited availability and higher prices being the biggest two. Um, but we are more than happy to still help you find the right fit for your family.
I love it. And I know you keep saying we because it's not just you. You've got a team behind you that supports you and helps do this for all of your clients, right?
Yeah, so I do have two assistants that help me all the time. If I'm gone, they're always in the inbox helping answer clients' questions so that they don't have to wait a week for me to return. So one of us is always available. And then I also have some colleagues that we just kind of bounce ideas off each other or, stand in as an emergency contact for one another while one agent is out of the country, etc. It's definitely
Yeah,
a
I was
team
gonna say.
effort.
Yeah, and travel agents deserve to go on vacation too sometimes, but knowing that you're never going to be left alone, especially, I feel like sometimes Hunter responds to my emails before I even press send on the email to her because she's just so on it and so is her team. So if you guys are ready to start thinking about, or maybe you're ready to start booking your Disney cruise vacation, reach out to her. She is here to help. Her planning services are totally free for you to use. So let her be that resource in your planning. Let her help you make the most magical vacation and memories come true. Hunter, thank you so, so much for your time. And thank you everyone for joining. And we will see all y'all on board real soon. Bye, guys.